So at the moment with Lachlan Landcare, I'm working on a project for the Glossy black cockatoo. So we received some funding from a Bupa Landcare Australia grant to work on habitat connectivity and also boost the health of people. So that link between the health and the environment for people out in the Lachlan region. So we're focusing on building connectivity in the corridor area to improve bird watching opportunities and bird habitat out in our region. The area that we're planting is part of what's called the Western Woodland Way, which starts in the Medlow Mountains and goes all the way up to the south of Queensland, and that's rather like the Great Dividing Range but more inland. So we've in order to achieve that, we're working with farmers to close the gaps really that exist around a town called Goolagong, and that's centred between the Kanimbla National Park and the Nangar National Park. So we're building connectivity out west in this Western Woodland Way, but it doesn't mean that the birds just stay there. So there's a school here in the mountains, a lower mountain school, that's working on a glossy black cockatoo project, and also looking at the trees, the feed trees that are preferred by the glossy black cockatoo in the mountains. Now, the birds will travel from here across the landscape and into other areas, and there's a big migratory pathway that comes from the Blue Mountains to the inland and then connects up with that bit of woodland that we're working on. So it's really important to think of birds and any species of not being necessarily local to one area. They do spread out, so that connectivity is all about building an opportunity, a safe opportunity for the different species to feed and breed and move around naturally and get some genetic diversity in their populations too. We have slightly different preferred feed trees for the glossy black cockatoos out west than you'd get in the Blue Mountains, and that's an account of the soil type, the environment, the amount of rain that we get. So there'll be different types of trees that they'll feed across their landscape, but the connectivity piece, as in having nice, safe, mature landscape for the birds to move through, is really important wherever they are. Well, I'm really hoping that we can inspire people to look beyond their own backyards and think of the sort of the planet as a whole, but more, I suppose, on a more local basis. Just see their local area as expanding out to the west and where these birds will travel. So almost seeing ourselves all as migratory creatures, and we can drive from the mountains out into sort of Cowra and beyond, and feel like little migratory creatures ourselves. And if we can expand that habitat by working together and imagining that as one connected landscape, then that's going to do a lot of good, not just for the glossy black cockatoos, but for other species too. So in June and July, we have tree planting opportunities. So we have volunteer tree planting days where we're hoping to get different people out, get them active, planting trees and learning more about the birds. So it's a good opportunity for people to get outside, see an area that maybe they haven't had access to before or haven't visited before, get to know the different trees that the glossy black cockatoos are feeding on in the area, and the other trees that make up that ecosystem, and learn a little bit more about this iconic species. So it's also a great opportunity to get out and maybe camp, spend the night, and get to know some of the like-minded people. So we're very fortunate in we call him our one of our local treasures is a chap called Jaden Gunn. So we're really fortunate to have Jaden live out and work out in Cowra. He works for BirdLife Australia and started his professional life with Landcare with our Lachlan team, and fell in love with the glossy black cockatoos among other things. He does a lot of work for Wires and other places out west. But we have him coming out to give a talk and to explain why this amazing creature is so is so fascinating, and why what we're doing with planting the trees is really going to help, and how that's going to help build habitat and hopefully secure the future of the glossy black cockatoo. This is a good opportunity for people who are living in the mountains and who perhaps drive out into the countryside and see cleared fields and wonder what's happening from a farmer's perspective. It's a really good opportunity to come out and actually communicate with and go on farms, really communicate with the farmers, come and have a look at what's going on, and to recognise that actually there's a lot of conservation work and a lot of investment that farmers put into birds on farms. We have a very active community of people, of farmers, working with the Birds on Farms initiative, participating in the Cowra Woodland Bird Survey, which is a professional survey that's been going now for 25 years. So it's a good opportunity for people to come out and see that the farming can actually be part of the ecological future and the solution, I suppose, to seeing it as land clearing and a loss of habitat. The one thing that we find out in Mid-Lachlan that farmers universally love is birds, and you don't have birds without habitat. So even if it's a garden around the farmhouse, farmers will put in things and enjoy seeing the birds every day and enjoy the seasonal changes that come with birds that migrate through their properties. So like with all of us, we're all on a journey. I'm not sure that the average farmer was ever quite as disconnected from nature as we might like to sometimes think, or that we sometimes think. But then again, there's a huge diversity of farmers out there. But no, a lot of farmers we talk to they see conserving and working with nature as not only part of what makes their farm successful, it's part of what makes their life worth living and valuable.
And what do you get out of all this?
Oh, it's amazing. I get a sense of purpose. I mean, I've always enjoyed my work. I enjoyed my work as a chemist, and I was more of a research chemist. That was all really fun, but it's nothing like putting your time and effort into the soil and growing things. It's so much more about the environment than it is about me as an individual. I like the feeling that everything that I'm doing is with the right intention, and it can create something that's going to potentially outlast me and do good for so many creatures that I'll never ever get to meet. So that just feels really nice, as opposed to my old life where it was very much more one-on-one sort of project based.